Welcome friends to another Wheel of Time video. Who are the Myrddraal, the Dark One's generals on the battlefield? How did they earn this position? What abilities make them so feared? Spoilers for the first book throughout, let's get straight into it. These Myrddraal are the offspring of the Trollocs. One of the Forsaken, Aginor, and the Forsaken are the followers of the Dark One, for those that don't know, sought to create a soldier more powerful than humans, so he combined humans with the genetic stock of boars, bears, and eagles, animals picked due to their levels of aggression. This experiment produced a soldier with the physical and aggressive traits needed. These Trollocs could also replenish themselves through offspring, so the Dark One would never be short of soldiers. One issue with them was that the bred in bloodlust made them unable to take orders to fight when they should, and halt and say, form a line of spears when they should. In other words, they lacked an important ingredient for a soldier: discipline. The Trollocs indirectly resolved this. Around 5% of all children born to the Trollocs are Myrddraal. They had the intelligence their parents lacked, could give orders, and terrify the Trollocs to obey them and follow orders. Now we see this in the Wheel of Time, when a party of heroes, being vague here to avoid too many spoilers, go into the city of Myrddraal, and the Trollocs are forced into the city after them. A large number of them have been killed in the city previously by the vengeful spirit that lies within, and they have to be driven by the Myrddraal to enter when they would rather run. The Myrddraal themselves are sterile, insofar as no female has ever been seen. The Myrddraal have several abilities, one of which is to move between and disappear into shadows. Even reflections in a mirror will only show a misty image, making them effective stealthy killers. The creator of the Trollocs had the idea that they phased out of time and reality with their surroundings, but despite his efforts to understand how this shadow ability worked, he could not understand its origins. A Myrddraal's blood is so acidic it is able to etch its spatter into steel, and their nails are hard enough to leave markings in wood. They retain the strength of their Trolloc parents and can sense a channeler to a degree, and so are often used to hunt for them. This especially makes them effective when it's combined with their shadow hopping ability. They can also, perhaps because of their shared genetic background, link to a group of Trollocs to achieve greater control and strategy in them than they normally are capable of. But this risks the forces under their control, because if the Myrddraal is killed, then so are the Trollocs, because of that link between them. They also have another use. They can be used to turn channelers who use the One power and fight for light, to fight for the Dark One. 13 Myrddraal are needed, and 13 Dreadlords who are channelers who have chosen to go over to or have already been turned by the Dark One. The Myrddraal are used as filters by the Dreadlords, who use their sex's half of the One power and push this through the Myrddraal. Their power is drawn from the Dark One's true power, and this can then shift the channeler's allegiance. It's said, afterwards they become soulless. These creatures wield black blades, swords made in Sheol, the focal point of the Dark One's power. They are hard to break and retain their edge, much like the power-wrought weapons created in the Age of Legends by the Aes Sedai, a group of female channelers. But the swords of the Myrddraal do not last as long, perhaps due to the source of their creation, the true power, its source the Dark One, and also in how they are quenched in the living bodies of a human. Their blades have a corrupting edge, much like the Shadowspawn's blood. They are dipped in a black river that runs through Thakandar, and this gives the sword edge a corruptive effect. It only takes a scratch to be fatal, and only the healing hands of an Aes Sedai would be able to save you if it struck you. The Myrddraal can also command a sense of fear in anyone they put their gaze upon, making people fight less effectively against them and to make bad decisions, though it is possible to control your reaction to this. So how do you finish off these beasts of the battlefield? A normal wound will not finish one off. A blade or arrow to the heart will only slow it down. It takes more, much more, dozens of arrows or bolts to kill one. An easier way, if you are brave and can get close enough, is to remove its head. But even then, it will not die straight away. Their bodies will continue to thrash, using their sword or nails. They will only stop this when the sun sets, and it is then any Trollocs linked to their possible offspring will also die. Now friends, I turn this over to you. What do you think makes them so feared? Why do they have the ability to command the Trollocs? Has a Fade ever chased you into Shadow Logoth? Comment down below.